So, just a little something that came to my attention while I was browsing good old X. And I saw this right here in big, bold, white letters. Spider Man's Miles Morales sells 70% fewer copies than Marvel Spider Man at launch. Not so spectacular. And this was published, actually, we're taking a trip down memory lane on the 2020, December 22nd of 2020, to be exact. And this was done in regards to somebody over here saying and replying. We're going to go again on the almighty X right here. It's a little typical back and forth with your everyday people, right? Just basically the same regurgitated debate of, Miles Morales better than Peter Parker, etc., blah, blah, blah. So it started off here with this person saying, if Miles is the best, why can't he sell games or comics or even movies without Peter? Right? So that's okay. All right. We have a reply here, quote, we as per usual, conservatives conservatives live in this world, in this weird ass dimension where Miles isn't objectively a massive success, right? So then we go ahead and of course, I'm going to assume my good friend here, well, they're not my friend, but this is the lovely anime PFP is a conservative or a right-winger. I'm just going to assume that because I can and because I'm an asshole. And they go ahead and they post the almighty, the numbers, baby. The numbers, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So that should be case closed, correct? That the point stands that Miles sells less than Peter's Spider-Man thing. So the thing with that is, like, again, assuming that most of the people that go ahead and say Miles Morales is Miles Morales and, Peter Parker's Peter Parker or Peter Parker's Spider-Man, whatever the fuck your phrase is, the conservatives and the grifters and stuff, assuming, and this is going to be a big shot in the dark, but I think my assumption is going to be spot on. I'm going to assume about 90% of you are Trump supporters, right? So you guys know that the numbers ain't always accurate, right? Because if you were to say that the numbers are accurate, you would, say that Trump lost the election, but you're not going to say that, right? Am I on the same track? Yeah, correct, right? Right, yeah, we're on the same track, yeah. So if Trump, by the numbers, didn't lose, there must be something wrong, right? There must be something there. There's always something there whenever, it's convenient. So let's just explore that little avenue for a second, okay? Let's just explore that little. And I know it sounds like I'm taking the piss out of conservatives. Sometimes you have to, man, because they can get as obnoxious as the left-wingers and the wokies themselves. It's like, holy shit, you guys should... Yeah, you guys are almost as obnoxious. You just don't hold as much power in the mainstream anymore. So then this, lovely African-American gent over here says... This is the craziest straw man. The topic wasn't if Miles is more successful than Peter. The topic was if Miles himself was successful, which is true. So I guess he's trying to make the argument that, like, it's not about comparing Peter to Miles. It's whether or not Miles is an objectively good character or just a good enough character to stand on his own to warrant him taking up the mantle. I guess that's what he's trying to say. We got some lovely people replying here. We got published in December 2020. He knows, like, no one had a PS5 at that point, and the PC version was still a couple years away. I mean, that is a good point. Well, it was okay. In 2020, it was incredibly difficult to get a PS5 because we had a little something called I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube, but you guys know what we're talking about here. The coof, that was a thing, So, yeah, I don't think it's I think that could play a factor, right? Just like, the whole thing that happened with Trump played a factor according to conservatives and shit. Yeah, so it's like you get, I'm trying to call out the hypocrisy here, right? Whatever somebody finds it convenient to point out buts, then they go ahead and they do it. But when it's not, then they just want to be like, Miles Morales is Miles Morales. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I care about this so much on the internet. It's like, holy shit. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I just live to make fun of these people because they're both idiots at this point. I swear to fucking God. Like 80% of the time, I'm just here to take the shit out of both of them and laugh at them because of how stupid these people are. And they're just, God, the grifters and the lefties, I don't know which one's worse at this point. So let's read a couple more of these lovely comments, all right? And then we can, Babis 2003 says these guys act like 6.5 million copies is not an impressive number. Well, they're just trying to compare it to Peter's numbers, man. It's not that it's not an impressive number. It's just that it's a minority number. See what I did that? Or a minor number compared to like what you would get from the original, I guess. This person says keywords being at launch. Even though it released on PS4, lots of people, myself included, waited until they got a PS5 to play it. Every time there was a PS5 restock, Miles jumped back to the top of the charts. It had some of the best legs of any game ever. That's another thing that people that want to push the whole Miles Morales is Miles Morales and blah blah blah. Like, I just want to kind of expose them a little bit, because they think they're very crafty. And maybe, you know what, maybe the facts don't even matter to those people, which I'm sure that's the case. They only care about rage bait and pretending to be right. But let me fuck them up a little bit for a second. So again, I'm going to assume, because you guys are usually the ones whining about Trump not really losing the election, even though he did by your numbers, your own fucking logic. And then you coped for about, some months. But you get my point, right? These people that preach this shit are the same people that are coping about the numbers from the election or whatever. I don't know. There's always something, right? Don't ever just fully take something at its surface level, because there's always something, behind it. And in this instance, it's like, yeah, I mean, the PS4, the time in which this was brought out. Again, PS4 is outdated fucking hardware, right? The reason people stocked up on the original Spider-Man is because it was the first time there was going to be a Spider-Man of this generation on a console of that generation. It was like a big fucking deal. Of course it's gonna sell like hotcakes. Of course it's gonna have this whole, I'm gonna buy it. It's because, dude, it was the first time it was coming. It was coming out. It was on the new, like, before then, I'm pretty sure you had them on a PS3, but that shit, the graphics on that, and it was just meh. Although I'll say this, Web of Shadows and, the other Spider-Mans, they weren't bad. But this was more of like they were taking a pure story, cinematic, I guess, almost approach to the whole thing. And I guess that was enticing. It was more along the lines of an Arkham City. That's what most people were like looking forward to. So they went in there thinking, well, this is going to be Spider-Man, just an Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, PS4 version of Batman, essentially, but Spider-Man instead. And that's what most people came in looking for. And it's more or less kind of what it is. But yeah, I mean, just not to diverge from the point. The point is, the original Spider-Man on the PS4, or the original Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, was always going to be a success no matter what. It was always going to sell more than its predecessor because it was a big deal. And then you hit the slope where a lot of things went down and a lot of things were getting harder to make because, again, of Le Couf, right? That was a thing. So I gotta say, it's not as clear-cut as, most of these people want it to be, unfortunately. So this, let's continue on. Not to mention, Miles was a PS5 launch title, and Phil Spencer couldn't even get a PS5 at launch. They were the top tech desired device in the world. And again, just to go ahead and reiterate this, there was something that was going on at the time that was making it incredibly difficult to be able to pop out those PS5s, and it was the launch day titles, and everybody wanted one, and blah, blah, blah. It was just so scarce to get them. So, of course, you're going to get low sales. Although I will say, maybe people just didn't want to play on outdated hardware. A lot of people were just saying, well, fuck it, why do I want to play this on PS4? I guess you can make the argument at that point. It's like, well, I guess Miles ain't that important. I don't know. Maybe people just wanted to hold out for the new, hardware. I would. I mean, it would have been nothing personal on the character, I guess, is what I would say. Like, if I want to play a Spider-Man game, right? For example, I'm doing it so that I can, be a fucking genetically modified, human being with spider-like abilities that I can play on a fucking on a game, right? That's what I play Spider-Man. I don't play Spider-Man to be like, oh shit, I'm black now. I got all the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. This I don't fucking do that. I don't know. It's weird. I can't really blame people for making fun of the individuals that like mauled about like Miles being the main Spider-Man and calling them racist or joking about it. I mean, some of them are fucking serious about it. I don't think I don't think a lot of those people are racist. I just think that like they need to appeal to that demographic, or at least give off the impression that they dislike it more than they actually do. Because I mean, it is pretty silly for you to maul over this shit for so fucking long. There's only so much you can keep up this fake outrage and be like, this is evil or some shit. It's like, bro, fucking get over it or don't buy the fucking game. You always say go broke, go woke or go broke. So then I don't know. So another person says that was just at launch. Data showed that over time that the game sold consistently for a couple years because people were waiting to get the PS5 to play it. It was always in a few, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. My point about this whole thing. Miles Morales also released at a time where it was almost impossible to get a PS5, yet we reiterated that point. So multiple reasons as to why this could be the case. Again, you look at this on a surface level and it's obviously going ahead and it's pushing a narrative, but what else do you expect? Everybody on the internet, for the most part, will always push a narrative. It is what it is. I mean, you got to do this. You have to, it's dishonest practice, but you have to understand one thing about the internet. And most people like this, or people that do these kinds of things, they have an agenda and they want to do something with it. So they're going to go ahead and pick these things. Maybe this article gets deeper into why. But again, I guess we can only speculate at that point. This is really not something that I'm going to spend much time mulling over and be like, oh my god, I need to fucking definitively prove that Miles Morales is a better Spider-Man, or vice versa. I'm not going to go out of my way and be like, oh my god, I need to legitimately prove that Spider-Man or Peter Parker is better than the guy with the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. It's it's like it's funny. It's kind of funny to look at. It's kind of funny to see this. Let's see. There's a Spider-Man sold 20 million copies. Miles sold 4 million. His book never topped the charts, and his movies came nowhere close to 3 generations. So Peter's. This person said no one is comparing Miles' success to Peter's. We're saying Miles objectively has been successful in many of his projects. If you're going to respond to the blah, 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 not got a book in the top 50 for comics. His movies did not even break a game's perform worse than Peter's. By what metric is he a success? Oh, man. By what metric? I don't know. I mean... I don't know. By what metric are you a success? 680 follower account. I don't know. I guess this comes to the argument like, the critics don't need to be impressive themselves, I guess, right? It could be like any random jack off with irrelevance can comment on something much more successful in itself. Because again, I don't know. If you want to go ahead and ask for like the criteria, what would make something successful, it's like, will you really ask this random anon account? I don't know. I probably wouldn't, but it is what it is. This person says Across the Spider-Verse earned nearly $700 million against a $100 budget. In what way or world is that a flop? And then it goes, let me educate you on how the box office work. If you could educate us, you wouldn't just be an anonymous account with under 1,000 followers. So again, if we're going by numbers, you're irrelevant and nobody fucking should give a shit. That is your entire argument. If you don't have the numbers, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's kind of like these annoying people that really just go ahead and make me think, wow, the internet people can be very, very, very silly. Take the super serial guys. That's all I have, though. Like, once again, I'm not out here on a mission to be like, Spider-Man is, is it Miles is better than Peter, or Peter's better than Miles? Just asking the simple question, do you think it'll flop, I guess? Now that we've taken all of this into consideration, do you think that moving forward, based on this discourse that I just, went ahead and I put out here for you guys, do you think that moving forward, Insomniacs Spider-Man 3 which would be, you know, the follow-up to Spider-Man 2, since we're in the Spider-Man 2, and we're assuming that it'll be the main Spider-Man moving forward, would probably be Miles from everybody that's panicking. Do you think the games will flop from here on out? Will these statements from these individuals age like milk? Because again, they're under the impression, by their own logic, they're under the impression that Spider-Man 3 is going to be a major flop, since Miles can't do it. He can't pull in the views, pal. So we're gonna see. I guess we'll come back to this video when Spider-Man 3 drops, and we'll go ahead and compare and see if, you know, this big superstar over here knows what the hell he's talking about. No, actually, Spider-Man 3 is gonna flop because of this. This Miles sucks. I don't know, man. These people are so fucking obnoxious sometimes. All right, well, that's all I got for this. I'm out of here. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Really want to go over that Zelda movie thing, though. That's gonna be interesting. I like me some Legend of Zelda. It's good stuff.